There's nothing wrong with you. You know what? If you can't respect me, go ahead and end the ride and get up out of here. There's nothing wrong with that. I've done it twice, maybe 3 times. Because we're not playing that game, looking for a way to be. Get out of here, man. Take that, you and your racist virus, and get out of here. We're not doing that. Those days are over for you guys anyway. You know what I mean? So you do have to remember that and to stay firm in your belief that this is still my car. You don't get to get in here and disrespect me or leave your trash or have your dogs pissing and shitting all over the place. You know what I mean? Sorry. Anyway, but yeah, it's still your car. It's still your domain. It's still where you make your money and you do business. So you have the right to set rules and boundaries. Outside of that, there isn't too much that would make you to have an unpleasant day the majority of the time. But yeah, the majority of the time you will meet fantastic people. If you were like me and you were losing your faith in people, this is a great way, at least for me, to restore it. I remember once, I'm going to tell this story. I picked up this lady at the airport, and she gets in the car, and she was actually on the phone, and she was telling the person she was talking to, did you see the review of the article that I wrote, so on and so forth? I'm going to get in trouble for this. So I had it in my head to, when I have some time, to remember to look this lady up. So as we're driving, she was very, I try to be attentive to my customers, all the stuff I explained to you. But in this particular situation, she was tending to me and making sure, I enjoy what we were playing on the radio. And I was okay with the temperature of the car. And I was just like, man, this lady's weird. And so we're driving, and she got back on the phone, and she says, yeah, we got to go get these tests done and so on. And she kept saying that over and over. So I don't know why in my head I thought she was the doctor, right? Because she kept saying, just the way she was framing it, it was as if she was the one performing the test. And she was, I guess. So we get to the hospital. I drop her off, and, I say, I got to remember to look this lady up. So I finished my day. Later on that night, I looked her up, and this lady had stage 4 breast cancer. And she was going, obviously, to get her tests and see what was going on with it. And in the interim, she went all across the country, all across the world with stage 4 breast cancer, telling people to fight and don't quit and do what you have to do. All this activism. And I thought, man, I know about this. My mom passed from cancer. Her sister died from cancer. My auntie, my friend, just recently. So I know like 10 people that are personally in my circle that died. So I know about this word. And it touched me so much that I reached out to her. I emailed her. And I said, hey, I just wanted to send you some positive energy. And this was 2 years ago. And every month I would send that same email, something along those lines. Hey, I was thinking about you, wishing you positive energy. And she would always give me an update on her status. Well, in October, I emailed her, and I didn't get a response. And so some more time, I kept emailing. I was like, oh, man. And so, unfortunately, sure enough, somewhere in between September and November, she passed away. And I was a little hurt by it, because I didn't know this lady, but she had just touched me in such a way. Somebody who already knows what it's like to lose people of cancer. But she changed the way I thought about things from a 30-minute encounter. Her name is Jet Mitchell. Look her up. And I'll put something in the description below. I'm still taking it back, as you can tell right now, right? But these are the type of people that mostly you'll be meeting. That lady was a champion. She was a soldier. And all of her hurt, she was still out here helping people. Just like these former witnesses, these former Mormons, these former whatever religion. Helping people. And when I finally played back what she was doing in the car, she was actually just trying to appreciate and be in the moment and appreciate everything that's happening in the moment and how powerful it is for people, whether you have a malady or not, to just be in the moment. 30 minutes changed my life for forever. And I don't want to make it all sad and doom and gloom, but that one was the one that touched me the most. Most, if I can bring it to a lighter note, most of what you see or will see behind the wheel as a driver is people doing silly stuff, and it is hilarious. It is hilarious. So much so that stuff that you've forgotten about, months, years ago, right? You'd be driving with somebody in the car, and you'll and that memory of what they said or what they did will pop in your mind, and you'll start laughing out. I do it all the time, and I usually find myself having to explain to the current passenger what it is I'm laughing at, so they don't think I'm on drugs or drinking. You know what I mean? But most of what you will experience is just people doing, grown adults doing silly things. It's just hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. And I found that women are usually behind all the laughter. And unfortunately, most of my experiences are, they're kind of graphic. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to say them. But they're hilarious. And women are bad actors. And I mean that in a tongue-in-cheek way. When we get behind the wheel and just listening to them talk on the phone and their stories and about their husbands and the stuff that they be doing, it's just amazing. So it's a good time. Your days will be good if you just handle your business accordingly and learn to listen and be able to think fast and multitask. Keep your eye on the road. And that's the other part that has changed over the last few years is people's driving ability is absolutely horrible. This is one of the reasons I'm transitioning out of it. You have to really be, thinking way ahead of people. You have to be thinking 2 or 3 lanes over for people, what they're going to do, what they potentially might do. And, now there's this, and I've talked about this before, there's this thing where people are just zooming out of these driveways on the right-hand side. I don't even drive in that lane anymore. So unfortunately, that's something that's just kind of deteriorated over the last couple of years. So that's why it pays that you enjoy driving and that you're good at it. Because when they do the background check, if you have anything on there, you're probably not going to be able to drive. So keep that in mind too. And lastly, I want to talk about cars. If you want to use your own car, fine, go ahead. But you're doing a disservice to your car. I don't get paid by Lyft to say what I'm saying to you. This is just to try and help you start bringing some money in while you wait for your check or whatever it is you're waiting on. It's a great way to do it and, catapult yourself and learn new things and other opportunities. But if you want to use your car, go ahead. Just know that you're responsible for gas. That's going to be your gas and your maintenance is going to be the biggest thing for you. Okay. Or you can rent one of the Lyft cars. Depending on where you are, the deposit is $250. And in 2 or 3 days, they'll have you in hopefully a new car. When I first started, I had a brand new car, And the reason it is expensive, right? You're gonna have to pay $230 at least here. That's what it is, $230 a week. But that's something. If you really knock it out, you can knock out in 1 day, right? The rest of that week is yours, or you can do it over 2 days. If you're not making $100, a minimum of $100 a day in Lyft, you're doing something very wrong. That's usually something you can do within, 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours, $100. And if that's all you do with Lyft, $100 a day, that's still $3,000 a month. So you can go with one of the Lyft cars, $250 down payment, get in the car, it's $230 a week, give or take, whatever it is in your area. And they will take care of the insurance. They will take care of the oil change, tire rotations, anything else that goes wrong that's considered routine maintenance. The only thing that sucks now is they give you a limited amount of miles where you're not actually working, if you need to go to the store. When before it wasn't like that, it was unlimited. But of course, somebody screwed it up. But it still works. They have filters on there that if you need to go a long way to get to where the money's being made, there's a filter that you can turn on that will allow you to take rides until you get to that location. Okay, so you don't have to use your personal miles. So they have different levels of this, so just be sure to look into it. So you have those options. I was greedy. I started out renting, and then I was like, man, I'm ready to buy the bar now. You know what I'm talking about? And I went back to using my car, and after 20-something years of driving, I wrecked it. And honestly, I think this only happened because that was the day that I was supposed to start my podcast for the first time, and I was thinking in my head, I'm going to do a few more rides and get this money. And as soon as I said that, lady came out of nowhere. I'm a great driver. I've never had any accidents. I'm good. And as soon as I said that, bam, the universe said, "No, player, you're gonna do this podcast." So that's the only accident I've ever had using my car. And ever since then, I've used one of theirs. I pay it, and it's worth it to me because ultimately you're saving yourself from ruining your car. You got me? So I know I didn't cover everything for you guys, but it's just some information to get you started and get you out of whatever hole that you're in, and hopefully start working your way to whatever it is you're trying to do, because it doesn't make any sense with all these opportunities that we have, especially for you Jehovah's Witnesses, for you guys to be somewhere at Bethel working for free, for you guys to be out in service, not making any money, not contributing to yourself. This is about you now, right? Expanding the conversation. This is about you. You need to get up. You need to take action. And you need to be doing it ASAP, because the world is changing, and it's changing quickly. The longer you keep sitting in your feelings about what Jehovah's going to do and the new system, you're going to stay locked in that prison of paralysis. And that's all that's going to happen to you. You're not going to be able to generate. Our jobs, our design as human beings is to create and generate, not to lay stagnant and hope for the new system. Listen, you're giving away your life to hope for something that you cannot prove by beings that you cannot verify. Institutions that are knowingly lying to you, and you know they're lying to you. It is simply time for you to get out of your head, get out of that thought of the new system, get out of that thought of the governing body is right. They're not. They're proven liars. We've done that over and over. I don't need to do that anymore. My goal now is to give you something to start replacing what they gave you, so you can start building yourself back up, cleaning up your self-talk, providing for yourself, providing for your family, creating a future generation that will no longer be entrapped in a system of belief that is designed to crush them. Of course, there's fear. Of course, you're scared. Of course, there's uncertainty with leaving your religion and coming into this new paradigm of thought. But as I said earlier, you're not alone. We've all had to go through this. And when you listen to this audio, you'll hear them start talking about really quickly the success that comes with taking action. Of course, there are some things that you want to happen. You can want them to happen all day long. But until you start putting in some action, you're never going to have no money saved aside for an emergency. You're never going to be able to get some real estate like we talked about last week. You're never going to be able to finish going to school. You're never going to get your car fixed. You're never going to be able to do any of these things. You're never going to be able to talk to yourself in a way that is conducive to producing. You're never going to be able to pass down anything positive to your children until you start taking the right actions. And I'm hoping by now some of you have looked at this religion and say, you know what, this is hurting me more than it's helping me. Okay? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got something. I'm not asking everybody to be a Lyft driver. I'm not asking everybody to go out and try and be Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan had some other creators on his team. Their names were Scottie Pippen, Craig Hodges, the Paxsons, all those dudes, Dennis Rodman. They all served a role. They all had something that they brought to the team that made it possible for everybody in that organization to benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no reason why you can't do the same thing. There's nothing that's going to happen to you from walking away from something that is bad for you. That is never, ever going to be something that is harmful to you. Ladies and gentlemen, until next week. Oh, and by the way, don't let me forget, I do have an interview for you guys next week. Former elder. His name is Matt. He's a former elder. I think he also worked at Bethel. So that will be on tap for you guys next week. So make sure that you tune in, and so we can talk to him about how they are seeing things when you're in the congregation versus what he's seeing now, what made him leave, and all the great conversation that's going to come with that. So until next week, Wednesday, February the 17th, in parting, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and your brains working. I'll see you next week.